You will use pictures from a John James Audubon coloring book that I've laminated. And there are two different types of drawings. One is more like a coloring book, and one is more like a stained glass coloring sheet. Whichever bird you select, make sure that you look at it to see what direction the bird is facing and how big you will need to make it. I would suggest that your bird be about as big as your hand. You notice that I turned my paper to be vertical because the bird I chose on this page, it has 3 birds, but I'm only going to draw one of them. So I'm looking at the basic shapes of the bird, and I'm sketching the bird very lightly with very little detail, mostly just the shape of the body, the head, the wings, the legs, and the feet. I'm keeping it very simple because I do not need to trace all of these things onto the styrofoam. So step 1 is to make a very light, simple sketch of your bird, noticing the direction that the beak is going, which way the head is going, the shape of the wings, and think about them in the most simple form. Keep it simple and draw light. Once you are sure your bird is ready to transfer, you will be given one sheet of styrofoam board. You will put your picture, your sketch, on top of that styrofoam and press firmly with your pencil, making kind of an indentation of the bird onto the styrofoam. Do not take it off until you have completed tracing everything. You just keep simple shape and form as you trace the whole thing. You can tell where you have been by noticing that some of the parts are darker as I've traced back over them. You want to press down firmly, but don't press so hard that you rip the paper. Make sure you have all the parts before you take the paper off of the styrofoam. You can lift the edges and kind of peek to make sure. You want to keep your pencil sharp, but it doesn't have to be, super pointy, but just keep it sharp. See how I'm testing to see if I have traced everything before I really move my paper. Once you have traced everything, you will now go back over and draw directly onto the styrofoam with your pencil. This is where you would like to be careful to press firm, but do not cut into the styrofoam, like don't cut all the way through. You will go and trace over every line, making sure that the indentations are nice and deep. If your pencil gets dull, you can sharpen it. You do need to keep a nice tip on the pencil. Trace over all of the outlines that you made on the bird. Once those are complete, then you're going to go back and you can draw directly onto the styrofoam, adding details. You may have to look back at your picture that you used as a reference to get some ideas of what kind of patterns, what kind of textures, what kind of marks will you need to make? If you left your bird just like it is there, it would print with just a black bird with a white outline. But when I draw a pattern or a texture onto this styrofoam, that mark will add interest and variation. So you do want to draw some type of texture on almost every part of the bird. Feathers, markings like areas that are spotted, and on the legs some type of texture. So you'll have to get some visual ideas or clues from the drawings that you looked at to begin your whole picture. When you are finished and you have gotten all the textures and patterns added on to your bird, on the back you will need to take a Sharpie and you will need to write your name, your teacher name or code, and then the name of the bird. This was an eastern meadowlark. And I wrote down the number that the picture was. That way, if I want to look back at it, I'll be able to find it.